Right, folks, positives, areas for development. What do we think? You think you should go and get a bus at that, is that alright? Yeah. Good, constructive, good start. Right, next one. We've got documentary fatigue now.
It was well cut to the beat.
Yeah, well cut to the beat. Suited the music choice, didn't it? There was it kind of washed over you, and I think that's quite good often, is that the edit doesn't scream I'm edited. Does that make sense? So there was a nice consistency to it, pacing wise and all that kind of thing. Anything else? Yeah, so consistency is good, the rhythm was very good. Apt.
Easy to watch.
Easy to watch, yeah. Does it set out what it aims to set out to do? Does it give a sense of a week there? Or could that be developed further? Could that be... It was very poetic in its style. I liked it when it had the observational touches. I like the idea that you did use some of the ambient sound. Again, that's where it works. Again, when you went totally ambient, it would have been nice for me to sit the music still underneath to give that continuity. Again, it just seemed quite abrupt when it stopped, especially the news broadcast stuff. If you'd kept it under the bed in the mix and then brought it back up, it would have just given it that consistency and that flow. So I think that was lacking a little bit because there was a consistency all the way through, then it stopped and then started again. No, as a poetic piece, it works well. I'm not convinced, like a lot of people's, it nails the structure of a week and gives a sense of a week and as being there day by day in the chronological order of things. I'm not saying they have to be necessarily in the chronology that they were, but I don't get the sense of a week. So maybe think of different ways you could have done that, whether it be through picture, imagery, sound, to demarcate, because you have the same music all the way through. So if you haven't got something audibly that's going to denote when one section day ends and begins, then you need something visual that's going to do it. So maybe titles would have helped. So it might be worth, again, as an area for development, try it with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, see how that affects the overall piece. Evaluate it, evaluate the differences between the two, and I think you'll get a better critical evaluation because of that. Yeah. So sometimes when one gives, you've got to take the other way. So if you'd done it with music, you probably wouldn't have needed the titles. But if you haven't done it with the music, you probably need the titles to do it. Does that make sense? So that goes for all of you. Don't try and combine the two together too much that you're hammering home exposition. So it's like, I know it's Tuesday, you've told me it's Tuesday, someone's just said it's Tuesday. But if you've just got a title and the rest of it's quite poetic, it gives structure where there wasn't structure before. So yeah, titles, might be worth looking at titles on that, intertitles for each day, because you've got the same music all the way through. But again, get that bed under the sound. Sound levels wise, it was fine. Colour grade again was the right side of tasteful, hadn't gone too far. And I know that's because you primary adjusted it correctly, so when you put the grade on it didn't scream, I've been graded, and you crushed everything out. So it looked quite filmic. It wasn't just put CinemaScope on it, it looked quite filmic without looking too contrived. Gave it a distinctive feel, gave it colour harmony all the way through, which kind of worked. As I say, does it nail it? The problem with poetic documentary always is that it does blur the lines between music video and documentary for me. So if you go too poetic all the way through, it does sort of start to veer on Guides to New York or music video. But I think because you've had enough of those observational use of ambient sound, I think that played that balance just right. But again, try those titles in there. Could have done a little bit more personal qualities to it to make it definitely your trip. And again, that would have come down to the waking up in the rooms, all those bits we talked about right at the beginning, those little details that make it more personal view of going to New York. But generally, yes, successful piece of editing, partly successful piece of documentary. Hopefully starting to see that narrative is always important. It's only when you start to see them together you see, yeah, that works. And it's kind of thinking, putting your finger on what works. And sometimes it's counterintuitive because you want to make something that looks visually nice and editing nice, but is it doing what it set out to do? It's when you can combine all the elements together that you get something that really is successful. Okay. Can I make a plea as well then that when you do critically reflect, you are going that extra mile. You're not just saying these are the issues and then that's it. You're saying these are the issues I've highlighted, these are some of the issues other people have highlighted. If it's a positive, this is how I think I could use it again in the future. If it's a negative, this is what I think I can do as a solution, and that's how I would apply it in the future. All right? So it's those three things. It's that three-prong attack. It's not just what the problem is. It's saying, this is a specific issue. Here it is. Illustrate it. Take a section out of your documentary, embed it on YouTube as a video or something, 10 seconds long, and put it in your evaluation, saying, look, this is the thing I'm talking about. This is what I could do to improve it. Here's an example from someone else's work. You see where this is going? Yeah, you're making a very clear statement about, I know what the issue is, I know how to put it right, and I know how I could use it in the future. You do those three things, you bang on the money. And it's also helping you to know what to do in the future. Don't just think critical evaluations is always arbitrary. It's about helping you get it right next time. And I think hopefully you can see by being honest in this room like this today, you're starting to see where you can put your finger on, yeah, that works. And if it helps to quote someone else's work, do it. You know, if you know someone else in the group has got that type of style nailed right, quote them in. As long as you properly quote whose work it is, you're not claiming it for your own. Say, look, mine didn't work in this respect, but I know what would work. And it's, if you can see this example here, they've done this, this, and this to make that work. Here's an example, illustrate. And then you could integrate that with some other professional documentaries work and say, look, this works here, they've done this technique. All right? That will take, again, your work to that extra mile, to that higher grade, but also make you a better filmmaker because of it. All right? We're not always expecting you to get things perfect, but by doing this, you can't start to learn next time, if I was to do this, I would do this, this, and this. And you've probably all got one comment where, if we were all going to film this again, we'd make sure we get these bits. Beginning of the day, middle of the day, end of the day. Yeah, the time-lapse thing works. Would it be, say, as a whole group, someone's going to be in charge of time-lapse and they're just going to do beginning, middle, and end of days? Yeah, someone else is going to do waking up in the mornings and all those kind of things. The process of your daily routine. Someone's going to shoot signs. Yeah, underground. Going up, going down, lifts, you know, all those kind of things that can help give transitions. I'll tell you another thing I liked in yours, Lewis, is you used shots as transitions and purely as transitions. So there was bits of lens flare. I don't know if you noticed, there were very quick cuts, but it's a very elegant piece of editing. It's taking, you're cutting from this bus shot to this city shot, but in between you put like a 1 second lens flare from another shot. And it helps you use another shot as a transition. Instead of using a dissolve or a fade, you use just a light passing past the camera as a transition. And that's a very elegant piece of editing. And you did that a couple of times. I don't know if anyone else noticed that. If it's done well, usually you don't notice it. It's only if you're looking for it. But there was a really nice one, I think you did it on purpose, where it's going from the bus to another bus shot in the centre of New York, and you use a lens flare into camera as a transition. And it works really nice.
I think I'll have to watch it again. I don't remember.
I mean, let me see if I can pinpoint it. Very little thing. I learned a lot about myself watching these. You've learned a lot about yourself. I think it's around here. Even if it's not intentional, it's a fluke. As we know, all the great editing practice came from those things. There.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I did put that in on purpose.
Yeah, that's good. It works. You see what I mean now, folks? instead of just a straight cut, you dissolve through another shot, so it doesn't look like a dissolve, it looks like an actual transition. That makes sense? Quite common in music video actually, but they use a lot in documentaries to make it seem like everything's fixed together. And that might be then when you go and shoot somebody, shoot random abstract detail like light out of focus into camera and all those kind of things. Those things are good as transition points. There you go, Lewis, I've highlighted it specifically for your evaluation. Yeah. So we all feel like we've got plenty to start off with our critical evaluation. Don't think this is exhaustive, this is a starting point for you. You'll notice other things you're aware of, other things you did. Make sure you're getting them all in there, but for every point you make sure you say, if it's good, why you think it's good, how you use it in the future and where. If it's a negative, make sure you highlight why it's a negative, technically and aesthetically, what you could do to improve it, come up with a solution and how you do it better in the future. Alright? Don't just leave it, I thought it was good, it was very successful at the end. Alright? Prove today that you can highlight things and observe them. Alright? And if you've seen solutions to some of your problems in other people's work, quote that in. That's again the other good reason for watching it all together is you can see what works in other people's, so that gives you a solution often for your problems. Alright? Learn from each other. Because there's a lot of good in all of those, and there's also the same issues in a lot of those. So, alright, we're all happy with that. Well done generally. There's a lot of footage to edit there. You've done it relatively quickly, and it's a tough thing, isn't it? But you've all achieved something that's yours, definitively yours. So we want the same response, the same commitment tomorrow for Kean's and Jodie's. Get there, and Jamie's possibly if he's in. And then that'll be everybody done, and then Paul can move on to your next stuff, alright? Remember, by the end of the week, you need to have all your work in, don't you? People with DSA, remember, have an extended deadline. Make sure you've looked at that and know what your extended deadlines are, so you're not panicking about hitting the first deadline, okay? Right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.